This is the 2013 Bridgestone 4x4 Club Challenge, and this is round one. Hosted by the Suzuki Auto Club of South Africa at the Leeuwenkloof complex west of Pretoria. But before we get stuck into the action, here's a short recap of 2012 and an update of the new rules of engagement for the 2013 series. In 2012, Bridgestone SA hosted a total of 6 events around the country. These events were hosted by Bridgestone's Daniel Barbosa and his team, and a regular tour of about 50 crews in their near-standard 4x4 vehicles competed in 5 build-up events and 1 final. Adriaan Oukamp and Gerrit van Wyk in a Range Rover called Rachel went into the final in the lead, but it was seasoned competitor and former champion Johan Marx and his wife Corné driving a short wheelbase Mercedes-Benz Gelandewagen that came through to win the 2012 title. Now Bridgestone has thrown the old rulebook out the window and come up with an exciting new format. Here's how it works. Bridgestone now calls the competition the 4x4 Club Challenge, so all the main 4x4 clubs in SA each hosts a round of the competition in partnership with Bridgestone. All the rounds feature the same scoring system, and in each event, the top 3 teams automatically qualify for the final event in November. So this year, there are a total of 10 qualifying rounds, each hosted by a different 4x4 club for its members. And the new competition is capped by a grand finale, organised and hosted by Bridgestone, where the top 30 crews of all the clubs will have one shot of winning big. But enough of the gory details, let's get the 2013 season underway. The Suzuki Auto Club of South Africa broke the ice for the 2013 season at the Leeuwenkloof complex near Hartbeespoort Dam. On the menu were 9 obstacles, ranging from testing brain teasers to some very tough 4x4 challenges. The 30 teams pitched up in a variety of hardware, from an original 1000cc SJ to new Grand Vitaras, and of course a plethora of Jimnys. Or is that true? Or is it a herd? Or is it a pack? Or whatever. There were lots of Jimnys, ranging from stock standard ones to highly modified machines with more lockers and tricks than Pollsmoor Prison. This is the first obstacle of the 2013 Bridgestone 4x4 Club Challenge, and ironically enough, we kick off with a brain teaser. Here the crews have to navigate their way into a dark cave where they have to find a box containing a question they need to answer. Finding the clue isn't all that easy in the dark, as Bulin and Yolandi Exley from Team Katools discover, but they get it.
We have to ask them the question, and apparently they're going to give the answer. I think we must guess the answer. So we'll see.
Yo, I don't know the answer. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Team Grant's Folly, or Andrew and Grant van Staden, find the question.
Answer the
What's the question?
Where was the very first Bridgestone Club Challenge ever held?
Yeah.
Could that be A. Leeuwenkloof, B. Leeuwenkloof, or C. Leeuwenkloof? Ha! It seems the Van Stadens have their wits about them so early in the morning, and they give the marshals the correct answer and score a bonus point. But enough of this Indiana Jones business. Let's get stuck into the 4x4 action. Here we go, this looks promising. And it's Team Katools again. They've already had a go at the obstacle in their original SJ with its open differentials without any luck. And dearie me, it looks like they've had a slight disagreement in the process. What went down here?
No, I couldn't get traction at all. I think with last night's rain, there's no traction at all.
Okay.
Yeah, I just keep slipping.
This is Gerard Snyman and Lucas Janse van Rensburg, or Team Basic Elements. Thank goodness they're not called Basic Instincts. They sure are thorough in their preparation though, testing the ground, building some road, and generally taking in the aura of the place. And finally they're ready, and off they go. they stop. It seems like this turn is catching out all the teams. Team Basic Elements' careful planning session pays off, and on the second attempt, they make it up. Sure, they lose a few points in the process, but up is up. Raymond Martin and Stefan Geesel are clearly not taking this competition seriously at all. Thankfully, their little Jimny has been considerably Pamela Andersoned, so it's fitted with an aftermarket differential lock, trick suspension, mud terrain tires, bull bar, rear bar, and rock sliders. Oh yeah, and a jerry can on the roof rack for effect. So in theory, Pamela's Suzuki should be able to do the tango up this obstacle, but clearly this team ain't taking no chances. Greatness! I think Raymond may be mistaking this competition for the Dakar Rally Raid. Sure, Raymond. What about your poor Pamela Jimny?
Nee, ek meen nou kan ons bietjie stadiger gaan.
Ag, they made for wheeling.
It's got a lot of power.
On that speedy note, let's move on to something a bit less speedy and a lot more bouncy. At Obstacle 3, a co-driver with a steady hand and a driver with a smooth right foot and careful aim are required. The co-driver has to balance a bucket filled with water out of the window, while the 4x4 treks over bumpy rocks and a slight 4x4 challenge at the end. As Mr. Marshall explains.
Bucket falls off, 50 points, and then every below the line is minus 5 points.
This is Team Suzy Quattro, or Colin and Susan Rautenbach, in a Suzuki Grand Vitara. Let's watch the action inside the Vitara, where Susan is a study of calm and Colin is a conundrum of excitement.
Fantastic, babes. Well done, man.
Good job, Suzy Quattro. How was that, guys?
Susan did very well holding on to that because I was rocking like a ship in the water.
And here is, hey, it's Marius and Esme Minar, or Team Braveheart. They competed in the 2012 challenge too, and finished in the top 10, so this should be easy pickings. But wait, there is a twist. In a cunningly brave move, Marius swaps positions with Esme, so Esme has to pilot the Jimny, and Marius is in charge of the bucket. They start off well enough, but then, oh no, the bucket has jumped off the stick in sheer panic. Crikey, that's not a great start for the experienced Braveheart team. This is Obstacle 4, and at first it looks like something your granny's Toyota Corolla would be able to do. And I'm afraid that besides the tight turn at the beginning, your granny's Corolla probably could do it. Dani Tate and Leon Ferry in an old Suzuki SJ are up next. And despite the fact that it's powered by a lawnmower engine, the SJ gets up as well, without any issues. Since this test isn't all that much of a test, let's move on to something that is. Something like Obstacle 5. This is a very steep and very slippery downhill test, where the competitors have to aim between the white poles. This is a good radar kind of obstacle. Radar, in case you are wondering, is a phrase coined by Bridgestone's Daniel Barbosa that refers to the person in the passenger or back seat that always goes "Ray here" and "Radar," like this co-driver for instance. Here's the SJ again, powered by air. But my greatness, with its super low gearing and the lawnmower engine doing the braking and keeping the speed down to 0.12 kilometers an hour, it looks like driver Dani Tate is about to whip out the Weber and tan a piece of cow on his way down. That's quite impressive. This is Conrad and Hermine Okam in their very standard Suzuki Jimny. The Jimny's gearing isn't quite as low as the SJ's, and Conrad has to keep his wits about him to keep the speed down. But the Jimny's wheel connects with a rock, which debeads the tire from the rim. Despite the mishap, Conrad is still quite upbeat.
Well, it was quite fun. We came down, we've got a puncture on our front wheel, but nothing too serious.
Stephen Grieve and Salim Bermania also drive a Grand Vitara. Stephen is an old Bridgestone Fundi hand, and this may explain why Salim looks like he's attending a classical music festival instead of facing impending doom. What's this? It looks like they're having some kind of discussion in the car while it's ambling over those slippery rocks. Well, I never. Anyway, on that note, let's skip along to obstacle 6. On any Bridgestone event, there's usually one obstacle that stands out head and shoulders above the rest. It's the one that spectators tell fireside stories about, and competitors have nightmares about. In this competition, obstacle 6 was that obstacle. It's a short but steep climb where the balance between momentum and the correct line has to be absolutely spot on. Welcome to Getting Stuck on Suzuki 101. We start this obstacle off with Renier and Georgia Deirdrichs in Jackalberry, the Jimny. Taking a cautious approach, since it's Georgina's daily runner, Renier had gotten her hung up on the obstacle. But instead of reversing and trying again, the Deirdrichs duo decide to rather lose the points hit and instead recover the Jimny. Georgina explains.
We lost traction and momentum, and we started bouncing, and I don't know, we're stuck now.
And so Jackalberry is towed through the obstacle by the Marshall's 4x4, but it was only the beginning. Here are Darnie Tate and Leon Ferry in their very capable little SJ. Let's see if they can make it up here. This once again demonstrates the importance of the nut that holds the steering wheel. The correct line and momentum are the main requirements here, and the little Jeep certainly has those two departments covered.
100 points, I think, as slow as necessary, as fast as possible, but challenging one.
Here's another old SJ, and this one hails from Leeuwenkloof, Suzuki. Let's see if novice driver Walter Mahlangu and Yaku de Jager also get the combination of speed and line right. Walter goes for it, but oh dear, they just don't have enough momentum, and the Suzuki grinds to a halt.
Okay, now it's on that recovery point, so yeah.
Clearly intent to conquer this obstacle, Walter and Yaku take a flying start at it and almost launch the Suzuki into orbit. But they're up.
Okay, go! Okay.
4-speed gearbox, and we still made it. We rock.
This is the new Suzuki Grand Vitara of Jadranko and Gavrik Miodra. And in case you're wondering about those names, they are former Czechoslovakians who also like a bit of 4x4ing in a Suzuki. Anyway, their June version doesn't have traction control like the other Grand Vitaras, so this may be a hill too far. And yes indeed, without storming the rock and risking some expensive dents, the GV isn't going to get up here. Talking about expensive dents, here is Colin and Susan Rotenbach again, in their GV with traction control. Colin has obviously decided that this little pebble will not be the boss of his GV, so he attacks it at warp speed 2. He makes it up, but oh dear, he's got some explaining to do to Susan about her broken Susie. Rather him than me.
And look, I hit that stone right in the middle. I knocked it quite hard. You can see the damage there, right in the middle. So, but I think it's better than not scoring the points.
Flip Kotzer and Herman Stein finished second in the 2012 Bridgestone Fundi Challenge, beaten only by the Mercedes Gelandewagen of Johann and Corné Marx. So this crew certainly knows about obstacles. Let's see how they go about this tricky test. Well, that didn't look that difficult.
Tricky as getting the right line, like always.
But the performance of the day went to this stock standard Suzuki Jimny, piloted by journalist Nina Harms and assisted by Suzuki Auto SA's Kenneth van Sale and boyfriend Mark Minner. They lined up the Jimny for this test. Let it be known that this was like the first time ever that Nina has driven a 4x4 in low range, on a 4x4 track that is. Now we will remain quiet and watch as the drama unfolds.
They're shooting pretty well.
So how would you do it then?
To be quite honest, I think just miss that rock and don't hit the tree.
Go back. Back.
Do you think she'll make it up this time?
I'm really not sure.
And finally. Okay. So I think we best be moving on to the next obstacle. After the mayhem at the previous obstacle, Obstacle 7 seems like a stroll through Santon City. Here the 4x4s had to wind their way through the white poles up a climb, but it certainly wasn't a major challenge. And here are the Fun Stardens again in their Jimny, which is so new it still smells of paint. And the Jimny makes light work of it. This father and son team are clearly fast learners. And here is Zugzilla again. With all its locking parts and fancy suspension, the Jimny should hardly battle here. But oh dear, Raymond stalls the engine when the front wheels hit a big rock. The Jimny crew get going again, but lose some points in the process. This is Obstacle 8, and at first it looks like something your granny's Toyota Conquest would be able to do. But the big rocks and ruts in the middle of the obstacle, surrounded by slippery smaller rocks, will probably kill Granny's Conquest. The correct line and sufficient momentum, demonstrated here by first Team Braveheart and then by excitably excited Team Suzy Quattro, should do the trick. Conrad and Hermine Okamp in their very standard Suzuki Jimny line up for the test. This Jimny doesn't have any locking differentials, but as Team Braveheart have already shown, the little Suzuki can get up here. Oh dear, he doesn't have sufficient momentum or the correct line, and now he seems to be getting himself into more of a pickle.
Comes after. Okay, wrap your face up. Okay, kies 'n lyn en gee 'n bietjie meer momentum. Okay, en jy gaan 'n bietjie traag.
Finally, after much deliberation, the little green Suzuki makes it up. Let's move on to Obstacle 9. This is the last obstacle of the day, and it's a bit of a sitting duck, or something like that. Here the driver has to wear an extremely stylish piece of leopard motif eyewear, rendering him or her unable to see. So the co-driver has to verbally guide the driver through the obstacle. As far as difficulty of obstacles go, this is pretty easy. First up are Maggie and Vic Bester in the little Jimny.
Gaan 'n bietjie reguit. Ja, reguit, gaan. Eerste keer was ek ooit van my geluister. 6 op.
No, it's not that difficult. You just need a good co-driver.
So on that, well, exciting note, it's time to head back to Leeuwenkloof's entertainment area, where the scores will be tallied and the winners announced. But before we get to the winners of the first round of the 2013 Bridgestone 4x4 Club Challenge, some more info on the prizes the winners will get this year. In every event, there are 4 main prizes up for grabs. The 3 podium finishers respectively get a 10,000 Rand gift voucher from Bridgestone, a set of Light 4 spotlights from Opposite Lock, and a hand winch, also courtesy of Opposite Lock. On every event, an environmental prize worth R2,000 will also be awarded. The overall prizes in this year's competition are the real treat. The overall winner of the 2013 Bridgestone 4x4 Club Challenge will drive off with a Conqueror off-road trailer worth R50,000. Conqueror has been a partner of Bridgestone's 4x4 competition for a number of years now, and this main prize is a big drawing card. The overall runners-up will receive a fully adjustable Tough Dog suspension worth R20,000 from Opposite Lock. Right, so now that the table is set, let's get down to the meal and the details and the winners of the season opener for 2013. And in third place, winning that hand winch, are amazingly Dani Tate and Leon Ferry in their lawnmower-powered SJ. Second place was another surprise, the Grand Vitara of Stephen Grieve and Salim Bermania. In the end though, it was the experience and skill of the 2012 Bridgestone Fundi runners-up, Flip Kotze and Herman Stein, that saw them beat the 29 other Suzukis for the main prize. And a R10,000 Bridgestone tyre voucher. Well done. That's flippin' awesome, lads. And lastly, the environmental award went to Brett Bailey and Natalie Shepherd. And that's the story for round one of the 2013 Bridgestone 4x4 Club Challenge. Next week, it's the turn of the Uber Mercedes Gelanderwagens to do battle, with a host of former champions in the game to win it. Till then. The 4x4 Club Challenge was brought to you by Bridgestone. Your journey, our passion.